I'm Addie, and today we're gonna dive into a pretty serious but super important topic on how to keep your child safe from sexual abuse and sexual assault. So this is not an easy topic to talk about, to discuss with our children, but I have found as my work as a therapist and as a parent that the things that are really uncomfortable to talk about are probably more important than a lot of the other things. So this is a really important thing to talk about, not only one time with our child, but have an ongoing conversation with our children about how to keep themselves safe. I found a video on YouTube that I thought was really great, and it was by a sexual assault prevention specialist. So I'm gonna link that video below. So I really encourage you to go listen to that because that is her specialty. This is not my specialty. This is just something I felt compelled to do as a therapist and more importantly as a parent. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, but however, this is something that we should be aware of all of the time. So 90% of child sexual abuse victims know their perpetrator. So this is not a stranger danger situation. It's somebody that they know. Sometimes it is close friends or family, and sometimes it could be neighbors or people that groom the child for many years and come their way in. So this is certainly not meant to scare anyone, just provide the best that I can think of and resources. And I'm gonna link a ton of websites that you can go to for more up-to-date information and for more thorough information. I certainly cannot cover all of this in this short video, but if it helps one person, that's why I'm doing it. Okay, I think one of the so something you could start doing when your child is really little, in diapers, changing their diaper in their bath, is to kind of name their private parts. So use anatomically correct language. So you can kind of pick what you want. Usually I'll say penis and vagina, but you don't want to use, in my opinion, cutesy names that somebody might not know. So if your child was to tell their teacher, I don't know, some people call vagina a cookie, the teacher would not know what that meant. So if your child was trying to tell your teacher something, they wouldn't know. So try to use proper language, which can be difficult for some people, but again, this is about safety, not about comfort necessarily. And then you tell, the child where their private parts are. Usually we'll say it's like your underwear area, your penis and your butt. And girls, as they get older, their breasts, call them boobies or whatever you want to call them, as long as other people will know what they're talking about. And then you start talking to them at a young age about what is okay touch and what is not okay touch. Who is allowed to bathe them, change their diapers. Usually at that stage, they're dealing with, one or two caregivers. So it's not as important. But as they start going to the bathroom on their own, maybe mommy and daddy and the doctor can look at you when mommy and daddy are in the room or mommy's in the room. Grandma can give you a bath and that's okay. So define who is okay and who is not, right? So the neighbor is not going to help you get dressed. That's not okay. You don't have to name specific people, but tell them who is okay and who's not okay. And we want to use the words okay and not okay. We don't want to say good and bad, especially when it comes to sexual abuse, because sometimes things that are not okay feel good. So we want to make sure we're saying okay touches, not okay touches, instead of good or bad, because that can get confusing for the child. This book is a really great resource. I'm going to link it below. I'm sure I can find it on Amazon, but it's from Bolden Publishing if I can't. It's I Said No, A Kid-to-Kid Guide to Keeping Private Parts Private. So this is written by a woman and her child, and the child unfortunately was a victim of sexual abuse at a birthday party. I think it was a sleepover birthday party by another child. So this is really, really thorough, and this is one maybe you could read to your child over several days to talk about it. But it talks about green flags and red flags, which would be okay and not okay. It talks about what it's okay to do, what it's not. I think this is a really engaging way to review this with your child, because this is difficult to talk about. So you could read this, every couple of months, or just reference it at least. So I'll link that below. Some things that we want to tell our children are kind of universally not okay. Secrets with adults, not okay. Surprises are okay, right? If there's a gift or a surprise party, that's okay. But we don't Kids do not keep secrets for adults, and adults do not ask kids to keep secrets. And I don't care what it is. It could be your aunt is giving you ice cream and say, don't tell mom. Not okay. And you can let the adults around you know this too very early on. And if they say, oh, what's the big deal? Explain to them, sexual predators will use secrets to keep children quiet and to continue to abuse them. So that's why I do this. And you let the adults in your life know that, and they'll start to hopefully respect that. If they don't, that's something you have to deal with. That there are no secrets between adults and children, period. Also, pay attention to bribes. So this could be, if you hug me, I'll give you a lollipop. No, we don't bribe for physical touch. In my opinion, we should never force children to hug, kiss goodbye, do any of that stuff. Children have their reasons. So somebody will say, give me a hug, and they'll say, I don't want to. The end. As a parent, I think you have to kind of try to back up your child's choices, saying, they're in charge of their body. If they don't want to give you a hug, that's their choice. They're not in the mood. That's okay. Sometimes I'm not in the mood either, and that's fine. So letting the adults around you. So if you're going to a holiday event or things like that, some people may not know this, and they'll say, oh, if you give me a hug or sit on my lap, I will give you this and this. So we just, as an adult, we say, we don't do bribes for physical touch. If they want to sit on your lap, that's okay. That's their choice. If they're uncomfortable, they're not going to do that. And that just lets all the adults know in your life that you're vigilant. So if unfortunately there is somebody who could be a predator in your life, you would not know about it most likely. Most offenders don't offend, over and over and over. It's kind of a one or two thing. You let them know that you are vigilant and you are teaching your child this, and they will leave your child alone. If your child says or showing something that they are comfortable with an adult, listen to them. Say, I don't want to sleep over this house. Talk to them about it, and don't make them. I don't think we should force anything like that. I think we need to listen to our children, because they will tell us either with words, I don't want to go, or if your child, you say, oh, we're going, to Uncle so-and-so's, and they hide behind you and they cry and scream and don't want to go, you need to listen to that and pay more attention. I think that is really important. Does that always mean that there's a potential for sexual abuse? No, but it's better to err on the side of caution, in my opinion. How can we teach our children this more? We can kind of role play scenarios. What if an adult said, I have candy, come with me, right? It's kind of the same thing about stranger danger, but more, what if this person said, if you do this, I will give you something. What would you do, right? So role play, give them a chance to kind of use the knowledge that they're getting. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I teach my children that they are in charge of their body, and I kind of use that as an affirmation, saying like, if you don't want to be tickled, say no. The adults around you better listen. As a parent, you say, she said stop, so stop. And then I teach my children to say, I am in charge of my body. This again teaches any potential predators out there that your child is informed about this stuff, that you as a parent are vigilant, and they're more likely to leave your child alone. I also think it's important to teach children and women that it is okay to be impolite if we're feeling uncomfortable. I think especially women are socialized to be polite and not to make anyone uncomfortable, and then therefore we're uncomfortable ourselves. We will say all the time, well, I didn't want to be rude, so I went in for a drink, or I did, I danced with them, or this or that. It is, in my opinion, more important to be safe than polite. I know we want our children to be polite, but there are certain instances I think that it is okay. So that's when you really need to listen to your children. A tip, if you are a single parent who is dating, do not put your children's pictures anywhere on a profile, because predators will look out for that. So you make sure that there's no signs that you have children. You may not even want to mention that until you meet the person face to face, and so you know that that's not what they're looking for, because some people will seek that out. So just be mindful of that. And social media too, if you're using that as dating, just be mindful. Okay, so it's not just adults who are perpetrators, so you have to talk to your children about that too. Say, what if someone asked you to pull your pants down at school in the bathroom? What would you do, right? Because sometimes the children who are abused will sometimes show those behaviors. And also with sleepovers, if there's a sleepover that's going to happen, you have to go with your gut and see what you're comfortable with, and discuss this stuff before a sleepover. For children who have phones, I think it is good to establish a secret code if they're at a sleepover or if they're just out with their friends, they can text you maybe like an emoji, and this certain emoji means come get me. So this doesn't have to be just for sexual abuse stuff. It could be a teenager who's out with their friends and somebody's, you know, drinking and about to drive. So they'll text you and say, and that gives them a pass, and you can text them back and say, you didn't clean your room, I'm coming to pick you up. That way they don't feel like that social pressure to go along with something that they are uncomfortable with, but also it puts the responsibility on you so that they don't have any negative effects socially from that, if that makes sense. So you can, you know, text whatever emoji, and that means come get me right away. So I would establish that before any sleepovers, and maybe just a general rule once your children get a phone, whatever age that's going to be. And finally, talk to your kids about sex. They're going to learn it. I mean, I know it's difficult. Do this in an age-appropriate way. I'll try to find some books if I can and link them. You don't need to tell your 4-year-old, you know, everything that happens, but as they go, let them know, because they're going to learn it at some point, and you don't want a potential predator or abuser to be teaching them about sex. And sometimes that's what happens. So at an age-appropriate stages, you know, talk to your kids about that so they can be as safe as possible. I really encourage you to watch the video that I'm gonna link. It's much more thorough than I can be. I just thought this was a good topic to bring up. As parents, our number one job is to keep our kids safe. That's what I always tell my kids when there's something that they don't like to hear. They don't always want to talk about this stuff, right? But I say my number one job is to keep you safe, so we need to talk about this, right? So if you start young, it won't be as awkward as they get older. Okay, if you have any more suggestions, resources, tips on how to keep our kids safe, please leave those in the comments below. And if there's anything else you want to know, please let me know. Okay, thanks. Bye guys, stay safe.